Help me reach my goal and subscribe. And hit the bell icon.
Chapter 68:41. 10 minutes later, Magdalena walked out of Wuliang Hall happily with 2 amulets. Claire was still in a daze outside the hall at this time, and didn't notice until Magdalena came to her. Magdalena approached Claire and pretended to be curious and asked, "Mr. Wilson, what are you thinking about?" Claire came back to her senses and said in a panic, "Oh, nothing, nothing, are you done?" "Done?" Magdalena nodded happily, shook the amulet in her hand, and said, "I asked for it, and got it. Should we go to your car?" "Okay." Claire agreed readily, but she was still a little absent-minded. At this moment, her heart was full of shock, confusion, and pain. She just wanted to hurry back to the company and stay in the office alone. On the way back to the company, Claire was always distracted. Fortunately, Magdalena reminded her several times. Otherwise, she would have caused several scratches along the way. After returning to the company safely, Claire went straight to her office. The administrator came over and asked her, "Boss, what time do we have the meeting today?" Claire waved her hand and said with a sad face, "You organize the meeting today. I won't attend. Besides, I feel a little uncomfortable today. You can make decisions if necessary. If you can't make a decision, wait, and don't disturb me today." The administrator saw that she was in a bad mood, so she quickly said, "Boss, please go back to the office and take your time. I will communicate to everyone. Everyone should keep a low voice when working today. If you have anything, please contact me on WeChat at any time." Claire nodded. The little girl in the administration was indeed considerate. So she said, "Thank you for your hard work." Then, she hurried back to the office alone and locked the door. The moment she locked the door, she burst into tears instantly. Those shining and moving eyes were like a string of crystal necklaces, and drops of tears as big as beans formed a line. She felt an extremely sharp pain in her heart, as if her heart was squeezed by a pair of invisible big hands, and her entire chest was in physical pain and twitching. She felt that all her strength had been drained away. Her legs were soft, and her body slowly slid down to the ground against the door, crying uncontrollably. Claire remembered the joke that Charlie had played on her before. Charlie once asked her what she would do if one day she found out that he had been deceiving her, and that he was actually a super rich man. At that time, her answer was that she would definitely leave him without hesitation. At that time, she only thought that he was joking with her. But she didn't expect that when he asked this question. It seemed like a joke, but it was actually from the heart. In fact, she didn't want to leave him. Over the years, with him by her side, she really felt the feeling of being cared for. She even wavered for a while, wondering if she should listen to her mother's words and have a child with Charlie earlier, and become a family of 3 or even 4. However, at this point, she has to face not only Charlie's deception, but also Charlie's enemy who killed his parents, and Charlie's selfless revenge. What else can she do except leave him? Although she loves him, she can't hold him back. What's more, this is a matter of life and death. No matter what, she must make way for Charlie and let him have no worries. But what about the future? If he leaves Charlie, will there be a chance to meet again in this life? Thinking of this, she choked with tears in her eyes and said, "Charlie, it doesn't matter if we don't have the chance to meet in the future. But you must survive. promise me that you must complete your revenge and return to the public eye as the young master of the Wade family. By that time, it doesn't matter whether you still have me, an inconspicuous daughter of the Wilson family, in your heart. You have suffered too much fatigue, and too much discrimination and grievance in the Wilson family. If you don't want to see me again in the future, I can accept that. But please be sure to survive. Chapter 6842. Claire was at the company and locked herself in the office all day without going out. During this time, she didn't eat or drink, but just sat alone in the office chair. Thinking about the past with Charlie from their acquaintance to their marriage to the present. She didn't know how many times she cried in the middle. Her eyes were already red and swollen. In the evening, the company's employees had already left work. Magdalena knocked on the door of her office and asked softly, "Ms. Wilson, are you not going to leave work yet?" Claire said, "I will leave in a while." "You go off first, are there other colleagues outside?" Magdalena said, "No, there is only me." Claire breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Okay, you go first, Magdalena, I will be back in a while." "Okay, Mr. Wilson, then I will leave first." Magdalena said hello and turned to leave the company. Claire waited for another 10 minutes, thinking that everyone in the company should have left, and then dragged her tired body out of the office. Looking at the spacious and tidy office area, she was also very reluctant. Leaving Charlie and hiding her identity is equivalent to temporarily disappearing from this world. At that time, her own design company will be closed down. Many projects have not been completed. In the next month or so, she must hurry up to catch up. Although it is unlikely to complete all the projects, at least she can finish some of them. For projects that cannot be completed, she has to arrange for a financial refund and payment of liquidated damages before she leaves. Large-scale payment of liquidated damages may cause all the money earned by her company during this period to be lost. But in Claire's view, money or no money is no longer important. She drove back to Thompson alone and returned to this mansion worth nearly 200 million yuan. She felt mixed emotions. Parked in the yard is the Rolls-Royce Cullinan that her father used to drive. She always thought that whether it was a mansion or a luxury car, it was earned by Charlie from his feng shui skills. Now she can see that there has been a secret hidden in it that she didn't know at all. She parked the car with a sigh, opened the door like a lost soul, and entered the house. Jacob and Elaine were sitting on the sofa at this time. Although the TV was playing, their attention was not on the TV screen at all. Instead, they each held their mobile phones and enthusiastically discussed the topic of Maldives. Seeing Claire coming back, Elaine immediately said excitedly, "Claire, I see that they all like snorkeling in the Maldives. I plan to ask your father to take me to buy a set of snorkeling equipment tomorrow. Do you want to go with me?" Claire shook her head and said, "You two go. I'm not interested in superficial things. This trip to Maldives will only take a few days. I want to take this opportunity to have a good rest and relax." Elaine smiled and said, "You and son-in-law are always so busy at work. It's not easy to have the opportunity to go on vacation in the beautiful tropical area. You should really relax. But your father and I are different. We don't have anything to do every day. We don't know where to put all our energy. I must make a full schedule for the few days in the Maldives. In addition to snorkeling, I also plan to chase dolphins and do sea fishing." They say that experienced captains can find the whale group of bride's whales, and then we will go to see it. Claire nodded but did not go to the two of them. She just said a little decadently, "Mom and Dad, you two can discuss it slowly. I'm a little tired. I'm going upstairs to rest." Elaine didn't take it seriously. She said to Jacob with some regret, "The island chosen for this trip is indeed the best in the entire Maldives. But the only regret is that there is no private plane to take this time." Claire was walking up the stairs. When she heard her mother's sigh, she suddenly felt a little annoyed. Her mother is always like this. She is so vain that it makes people scared, and sometimes she is really bold. Charlie's bank card with tens of billions, she dared to transfer the balance. Moreover, has she never thought that doing so would embarrass her daughter? Should she rush to her and ask, how dare she? Chapter 68:43. Claire went upstairs to her room in a depressed mood. Neither her father nor her mother noticed her abnormal mood. Claire had long been accustomed to this. Her parents seemed to be naturally inconsiderate. In this family, no one except Charlie would care about her emotions and feelings. At this time, the two elders were thinking about how to have fun in the Maldives to get their money's worth. No one noticed that Claire's eyes were red and swollen from crying. Back in the room, Claire washed her face with cold water. After trying to calm herself down, she began to think about how to leave Charlie to minimize the impact on him. But the first thing to be determined was what he had planned on the second day of the second lunar month, when the dragon raised its head. So, she picked up her phone and sent Charlie a WeChat voice message. "Husband, how are you going to spend your birthday this year?" At this moment, Charlie was bored backstage at Tajuana's performance. After receiving Claire's WeChat message, he did not hesitate and replied directly. "Wife, haven't you always liked Sarah? Her last farewell concert happens to be held in Eastcliff on the 2nd day of February. I thought that we should go to Eastcliff together. Spend some time together, and I take you to the concert. What do you think?" Claire was stunned for a long time. After receiving this message, if she had not met Leon today, she would not think there was anything wrong with Charlie's arrangement. She might even be moved because he wants to take her to a concert on his birthday. But now she knows that Sarah is Charlie's fiancée. So after hearing his arrangement, her heart inevitably ached again. Sarah chose to hold a concert on Charlie's birthday twice. And the thoughts in it are naturally self-evident. At this moment, she was somewhat resistant and opposed to Charlie's arrangement in her heart. However, she calmed down and thought about it carefully, and found that this was actually a good opportunity to leave Charlie. At that time, Charlie and her will go to Eastcliff to watch Sarah's concert. And Leon can arrange for her parents to leave first. After her parents leave, she will think of a way to see how to get away from Charlie. At that time, the family of three will disappear from Charlie's life. She will leave a letter for Charlie at home in Oris Hill. When Charlie comes back and sees the letter, he will know the details. Claire is not going to hide the reason for leaving from him. After all, he has concealed his identity from her for so many years. And she doesn't want to continue to hide it from him like him. She plans to tell him in the letter that she knows his identity and background, and the road to revenge he faces. In order not to affect him, she decides to leave him so that he can concentrate on dealing with his enemies without any worries. As for whether they would have a chance to meet again in the future, Claire thought about it for a long time and finally made a decision. When she leaves, she tells him in the letter not to look for her anymore. Their marriage was already mixed with too many things other than love. Not only was there an arranged marriage, but there was also concealment, deception, and a huge gap between the two families. Since Charlie's actual identity was Charlie from the Wade family in East Cliff, not Charlie, an orphan in Ores Hill, then her marriage certificate with him would not have any legal effect. It would be better for both of them to end this marriage. The reason for ending this marriage was that Claire had already told Charlie that if she was really deceived, she would choose to divorce, but the second reason was more important. Claire knew very well that the gap between herself and Charlie was too big. Once Charlie returned to the Wade family, if he still maintained a marriage relationship with her, she would become the object of envy of women all over the world. The reason why they envy her must be that they feel that she is too lucky. Such an ordinary girl could marry one of the top second-generation rich people in the world. Chapter 68:44. Claire was also a strong woman. She didn't want to be a wife of a wealthy family, or a real-life Cinderella in the future. Instead of becoming a vassal of a wealthy family, she hoped to live a plain and easy life. What's more, Sarah was obviously more suitable for Charlie than herself. And she had paid too much to find Charlie for so many years. In terms of emotion and reason, this was a girl who deserved respect and deserved to be fulfilled. Ending her marriage with Charlie and being able to fulfill them was also a good thing. So, she replied to Charlie, "Then wait until February 2nd, let's go to East Cliff to spend some time together. And enjoy Miss Goo's concert. After the concert, I may have to go on a business trip. You can go home directly at that time. I will take a plane from East Cliff to Rongcheng." Charlie asked curiously, "Why do you suddenly have to go on a business trip to Rongcheng?" Claire thought for a moment and answered with the words she just thought of. "A client introduced me to her good girlfriend. Her girlfriend has a large single-family villa in Rongcheng and wants to renovate it. She hopes that I can give a design plan. I want to go there for a field inspection." After saying this, she felt uneasy and ashamed. Uneasy because she didn't know if Charlie would see through her lie. Ashamed because this should be the first time she lied to Charlie. But she soon realized that Charlie always said that he would go to various places to look at feng shui for people in recent years. Perhaps it was the same mentality and motivation as when she lied about going to other places to design for others this time. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but sigh in her heart. Her marriage with Charlie was really abnormal. So much so that she had to use countless different lies to maintain stability in life. It seemed that every time Charlie wanted to do his own things, and it was inconvenient for her to know, he had to think of all kinds of reasons to lie. And even asked people from all walks of life to come to his house to help him act. He must have been very tired. Charlie trusted Claire absolutely. When she said she was going on a business trip, he did not have any doubts. He just asked her, "Wife, do you want me to go with you? Anyway, I have nothing to do at that time." Claire said, "Don't bother. I am going to work, not to travel. Taking my husband to discuss the project may make the client feel that I am not professional. Besides, I won't be there for too long. I will just do a field investigation, pat the soil, and measure the dimensions. And then come back. When the time comes, I will return to Ores Hill to make the design plan. And send it to her online when it is done." Charlie did not think much about it, and smiled and said, "Okay. When the concert is over, you go to Rongqing and I will go back to Oris Hill. Claire breathed a sigh of relief. Since the itinerary has been decided, she plans to take time to go to Chixia Temple and tell Leon the specific arrangements. When she and Charlie set off for East Cliff, she will find a reason to let Leon take her parents away. After she separates from Charlie in East Cliff, she will let Leon quietly take her away from China. As a family of 3, they don't have too many concerns. Relatives like Grandma have long since stopped seeing each other. As long as the 3 of them are together, it doesn't matter where they go. In the past few years, the whole family has relied on Charlie's care. And now it's time for them to think about him. Chapter 68:45. A few days ago, Charlie accompanied Tawana to complete all the performances in China's various cities. In fact, after the performances in the capital, Charlie regretted taking this job. But he had already told his wife that he would be Tawana's Feng Shui director throughout the whole process. And he couldn't give up halfway. After the 20 concerts, Changjiang Automobile has a great reputation throughout the country and even the world. Although the company has not released a single model so far. However, Charlie is very clear that since it is open to do business, it must adhere to a principle. Be famous as early as possible. Internet celebrity Lei Jun had already hyped up the topic before Xiaomi Automobile was established. The sentence that he would bet his lifelong honor to fight for Xiaomi Automobile directly attracted the attention of the company's cars. And then the sales volume was unexpectedly hot. Changjiang Automobile is named after Charlie's father. So Charlie also hopes to make this brand really big and strong at all costs, and become the pride of the Chinese brands. Tavanna's 20 concerts have helped Changjiang Automobile a lot. While the whole world is paying attention to the concerts, they also know about this extraordinary car brand. Charlie believes that when the first model of Changjiang Automobile is released next year, it will definitely create a miracle in the sales of domestic cars. As the performances came to an end, Tavanna's mood became visibly worse. After the performance, she will return to the United States. Originally, she was going to take a vacation and return to the United States to accompany her family after the Tokyo concert. But this delay took a month. Her family missed her very much, and the families of her team members also missed their relatives. But she didn't want to leave. Knowing Charlie has changed her worldview. She has fallen deeply in love with this powerful and introverted man. Originally, in her world, music ranked first. Recently, she often fantasized in her mind that if Charlie wanted to elope with her, she would definitely give up all her resources and status in the music and entertainment circles without hesitation. It's a pity that she also knows that this Chinese man is not interested in her. At the celebration banquet after the performance, Tavanna drank a whole bottle of red wine. After drinking, she had a dazed look in her eyes. But her eyes never left Charlie's face. She just stared at Charlie with a visibly drawn look in her eyes. After spending some time together, the members of her team had already seen that she had already fallen in love with Charlie. So everyone knew it. Tavanna has always been very good to her team members. So everyone's loyalty is also very high. Even if the 2 of them really slept together during the tour, this news would definitely not be spread to the outside world. It's a pity that Tavanna really doesn't have that charm. Tavanna knew that Charlie would return to Oris Hill after this meal. After the 2 separated, they didn't know when they would meet again in the future. So, after drinking too much, she ignored the other team members around her and went straight to Charlie, pulled his sleeve, and asked with red eyes, "Mr. Wade, will we have a chance to meet again in the future?" Charlie smiled and said, "As long as you can maintain close cooperation with Changing Automobile, there will be many opportunities for us to meet again in the future." Tawana said, "Then after your car models are launched in the future, you must invite me to be the global spokesperson. I won't charge a penny." Charlie nodded and said, "Spokesperson is definitely no problem. But we will definitely pay the money we should pay. In addition, you are so good at writing songs. So write a song for the Changing Automobile when the time comes." "No problem." Tawana agreed without hesitation and said, "You can ask me to release an album for Changing Automobile for free, and I have no objection." Charlie smiled and said, "I'm glad you said that." Tawana asked him again, "By the way, Mr. Wade, what are your plans after you return to Oris Hill?" "Well, the Chinese New Year is coming soon. Aren't you going to go out for a vacation?" Charlie didn't dare to tell her his actual plan, so he smiled and said, "I don't have any plans for now. Let's talk about it later."